If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? Oh, the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
What's going on, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and I'm back for another episode. It's going to be a pretty fun one. It's coming off of me hitting Infinite for the first time, well, really the second time this year. I haven't hit it since January. I know I've talked to you guys about it being kind of a slog through the 80s and 90s, which it still is. But I don't know. I'll get to it in the spin, but I'll explain how weird it was when I get there. But before I do, let me just go over some things of business here quickly and just go over the schedule and what it's going to look like. So obviously the audio pod is this. And then I'm going to have some guests coming on very soon. I've got a Friday guest, and that is Burb, who has been on the show before. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And with the guest that I get, the format is going to be a little different. Obviously, you know, we're going to talk Snap, but we're also going to talk just some other things as well. Like pop culture. We're going to talk about just, you know, other interests that we may have. I know Burb and I were discussing on X about fair food because it was kind of fair season and he went to a fair and I went to a fair and stuff like that. So, you know, just like kind of some crazy off the wall conversation, which I kind of always did with my guests in the past, but I kept it, you know, much more Snap focused with a little bit of like comics and stuff thrown in, which, you know, we still will. But obviously, Burb will be on the show on Friday. And then next week, I've got Lauren Whatevs that's going to join me on Tuesday. So Lauren and I are going to be talking about, you know, similar things. We'll talk about Snap a little bit. But in that conversation, it's going to lead back to one of their, you know, I know that Lauren is a big Nintendo fan. So we're going to talk a little bit about video games. And we're going to talk about Nintendo systems. I've literally owned every single one of them. As I think except for the 64. I had every other Nintendo set up except for the Nintendo 64, including all the Game Boys and handhelds and stuff over the years. So it'll be a fun conversation. Kind of going to have a top 5 for each of us as well. Lauren's going to share her top 5 Nintendo games, and I'm going to go through mine. So kind of compare and contrast the lists a little bit, and have some fun with that. And then obviously in the future as well, I have Kier Nimbus. Kier has been quite busy, doing some things personal wise. And so, you know, there'll probably be a similar conversation with, Kier as well. We'll probably talk some Marvel movies, maybe some comics and things like that. So it's going to be quite different, which is good because it kind of changes it a little bit from just this format in particular, which is kind of standard, pretty much. So, you know, the guests, I want it to be a little bit different. So keep your eyes open for that. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that. I am going to find out, from Glazer. I know I've been talking about it, but he's doing season pass giveaways on his channel. So I'm going to find out how he's doing that, when I get a chance to talk to him. And I will give out some prizes for going over to YouTube and leaving comments and that kind of stuff. And I'll award a season pass here and there. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, if you haven't gone over, please head over to my YouTube channel and sub to the channel. and also drop some likes on some of the videos there. It would help me out in a big way. I would appreciate it. And obviously, always thank you to all of you who listen to the show on audio, and you're listening to your favorite podcast format, however you may listen. I appreciate you. So, we are in the midst of a brand new season here. We've got the zombie season in full swing, and we got some cards today. I'm going to talk in the spin today about the weirdness of the releases of these cards a little bit. So I'm going to get into that, and this is what we're going to go over. So, going to talk about my last minute infinite run, obviously in the spin, and then we're going to get into the zombie season, and like I said, the weird way they put out the cards. And then going to talk a little bit about some variants here, which I got you guys in on. So that's going to kind of be part of the request line in a way. But we're going to talk about the latest variants in Snap. Now, normally, who cares? I really don't care much about variants, but the variants that are in this new thing that we got yesterday really kind of shocked me a little bit. If you weren't aware, or, if you don't really look at the variants that much, they're Marvel Legends action figure variants, which, I had some weird thought. I had some, not really weird, but I had some thoughts about it and kind of wondered why. Just why. So I'll get into that in the spin as well. The request line will be your responses to my thoughts about the Marvel Legends figures and see what you guys said. Then we're going to get into the Snap Talk. Of course, we'll talk more about what I used to get myself to Infinite with 25 minutes to spare. I've only tried that a few other times when I've been, behind on schedule and just really hadn't gotten to play, but I was still in the 90s. And there were some times when I would sit down and I would try to hit it on that last day, and it was next to impossible because there are just so many people that are doing the same thing. And you're only going to really see like the top meta decks at that point, because that's what everybody is, what everybody's going to grab and think, all right, I'm just going to play the best deck and I'm just going to try to get there. But I was really surprised that I made it. And I think I only got a few bots, and the bots at that point and at that level play a little bit harder. And they're not the stupid ones that you're going to be able to bait into snapping to 8 cubes. So yeah, we'll get into a little bit more of that during Snap Talk. I'll talk about decks. We'll talk about the variants. And of course, we'll visit the shop a little bit and see what's going on with that, and how I made a huge error yesterday. Now, I did see that they were offering the Arnim Zola thing if you got the season pass on the website and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I didn't read the directions. Old people sometimes don't do that, We tend to kind of like fly by the seat of our pants and figure, screw it, I'm not reading the instructions. And I didn't, and I ended up buying 2 of the season passes, or spending money on my Apple account for 2 of them. Now, of course, which, I'll explain that too. That was just weird. We'll talk about that in Snap Talk. And then, of course, we'll get to Comics Corner. Now, this is going to be a weird month with this, because the Marvel Zombies did originate in comics, but the cartoon, which this series is kind of based on, from Snap's perspective, it was a little different than the comic books. So I'll talk about the comics, but I don't know how prevalent some of these characters will be in the actual comics as opposed to the TV series. So we'll just talk about it from a comic perspective, but we'll do that in Comics Corner. And of course, then talk about the books I've been reading. I read an excellent issue of Captain America. It's kind of a reboot. And it's really kind of cool. Like, it's modernizing Cap's origin a little bit, where as if he would have appeared in a modern day, like he went on the ice, but then he comes back in modern day instead of like the 1940s. So it's kind of an interesting spin, and I liked it. The first issue is very good. He meets Reed Richards, like, who is quite young, compared to Cap. I mean, obviously, but it's very, very cool book. And I just got issue number 1, so it just started. So that'll be added to my list, amongst other things. Then we'll get into the MCU minute, and we'll talk about the MCU stuff that's going on. Really kind of quiet on that front a little bit. Most of it is rumors about Doomsday and things that, people are thinking are going to happen. And there was a little gathering between Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland recently. So we'll get into that in the MCU. And then, of course, we've got the Dazzlers Lyric Challenge. And let me see here. I have to check and see who got the challenge. Well, as I tend to do, I lost it somewhere. It was a post, I think, on Twitter that someone did get it. I was quite surprised, to be honest, that someone got this week's, because I don't know too many people that knew that song. But in any case, it was a song called Modern Day Delilah, which was later made into a song by Kiss. Very, very different lyrics and song, but it was by an artist called Van Stevenson. And I know I talked to you guys about how it just took me forever to try to find this song because, again, back in the day, when you'd hear a single on the radio, a lot of times the best way to find it was on a record that they called a 45. They were smaller, like, obviously you had big albums, but then you had 45 records that were tiny that just only had 2 songs on them. They had one song on one side, one song on the other. And I would have even settled for that, but I could not find this anywhere because I just did not know who the artist was. And so it took me a good while, years later, until I was able to find it. And trying to record things off the radio back then was not an easy chore. Because again, you don't know when they're going to play songs. You don't know when things are going to come on. It's not like today where a lot of radio shows are recorded and you could kind of go back to moments in them and listen to things like that, similar to a podcast. But yeah, it was Van Stevenson. I think I told you the story about how I ended up getting the album eventually when I worked in the radio station. I got it. They actually gave it to me, and it was a promo copy, which was kind of really cool. It was like a gold. They used to call them gold stamp promos because they'd have a gold stamp on the outer edge of the album, and they couldn't be sold. They weren't labeled for retail sale, and it had a picture inside of the artist, like a black and white photo and stuff like that. So I eventually ended up with the album, and the album was good. And then of course the singer Van Stevenson then changed his music genre completely, became a country and western singer, and then he passed away. But yeah, one of my all-time favorite songs. If you haven't given it a listen, check it out. Obviously, you could find it on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever. But it's called "Modern Day Delilah" by Van Stevenson. I really like it. It's a great song. And I also I mentioned to you guys that I requested it on one of on a YouTube channel that I listen to quite often. Let me I want to give them a little bit of credit here because I listen to their channel quite a bit. The Wolf Hunters, and they do reviews of songs and among a lot of other things. But I sent them that song in. So if you want to check that out, go check out Wolf Hunters on YouTube. They're a lot of fun. They're a husband and wife that do reviews on, like I said, music mostly, but they do reviews on other things as well. And they take things from people. You pay for it, obviously, and then they review whatever you send in to them. But it was cool to see them review it. And the video is kind of neat. It's a very, very typical 80s video. And obviously the song name Modern Day Delilah, you know the story of Samson and Delilah, about the cutting of Samson's hair and all that kind of stuff. And they made the video about like a beauty salon, which kind of didn't, I get it. It kind of fits the theme of the song a little bit, but they basically went the 80s route with it, where they had the women with the huge hair and, wearing very, very scantily clad and things like that. That was just what sold music and stuff back then. So So yeah, but congrats. I don't have, I awarded the no prize to the person, but I can't find the post. So I apologize for that, but yeah, great job. And then I threw another little curveball lyric, post out there, yesterday when I was getting close to infinite, because I thought all I could think of was, and see, this is how I think. It's just songs go through my head. When I'm in like moments of doing things, I kind of relate it to music sometimes because it's just been such a big part of my life. And, so all I could think of when I posted, when I was getting really close to infinite, I hit 98. I'm moving along, right? I'm at 90, I'm at 90, 92, 93. And then I got up to 98 and I put this post up and I put so close, yet so far away, guess the lyric. Somebody mentioned Hoobastank. Now they might have a song similar to that. But the one I was thinking of was, and people guessed it, so good job, was Hall & Oates, who did a song, some years back called So Close, off one of their last albums that they did together, actually. But it was, again, another favorite song of mine, one of those songs that kind of tells a story. But yeah, so somebody guessed that one too. So you guys are killing it on the lyric side of it. So I'll have another one of those today, obviously, as well. All right. So let's get into it. And we'll get into the DJ spin and, let's talk about that infinite run. So first of all, I will start off with the list. Now I watch, KM Best's best decks list, every single week. He always has very good deck ideas in there. Obviously, a lot of them are decks that he sees when he's playing, in higher infinite and things like that. But one of them just caught my eye. And just as I'd gotten the idea for the Wiccan list that I've been playing through with that did me pretty well, I saw this one and I'm like, I am intrigued by this because I play this deck anyway. And I thought, it's got some little additions to it that kind of intrigued me here that I never would have thought about. So the deck that got me to infinite was a Sauron list, but it's a very, very weird Sauron list. So the deck consists of Electra, Sauron, Zero, Hydra Bob, Iron Patriot, Lizard, Gladiator, Starbrand, Negasonic, Supergiant, Enchantress, and Red Skull. So you see, it's not all the same. First, no Nightmare in here. There's no Cull Obsidian. There's no Scar. It's not all just big bodies. There's no not Sauron. There's no, what the heck's his name? The big guy that keeps getting the points when you put out I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but it's a very different list. But I'll tell you what, against this current meta, boy, did this work well. First of all, Electra. Who would have thought that this card would come to pass or come into play like this? Electra's been not played for like ever. I have all these cool variants of her and I love her character. And everybody's kind of just like waiting for her to get buffed. Well, I'll tell you what, she won me a great deal of games because the way this deck is situated, it's situated to beat these last turn decks, which are again immensely popular after Jocasta came out. So again, you've got the ones with Prodigy, Invisible Woman, and now Jocasta. So you've just got massive, massive amounts of endgame power. So the Electra would take care of Sunspot. Because many times they'll stick that Sunspot down early. They don't wait for it. They put it down early because they want it to start accumulating some points for them. And you just wipe it out. So then right off the bat, you got one of their options for the endgame gone. So... And then, some of the other stuff in here, the Gladiator is also going to help you with that because that's just going to pull out a card. And all of the cards that are in there, I can't tell you how many times Gladiator pulled out Invisible Woman and killed it. So that's, again, another great card to go anti-meta. Negasonic and Supergiant especially. Supergiant is an amazing card for these end-of-turn stuff, because they're missing that middle turn and they don't get to play when they want to. They don't get to play the cards where they want to play them. You're going to want priority when you do this. So many times you're just going to be able to hit them with the Negasonic when they put that first card down and blow that up, and which may also be an Invisible Woman, or maybe it's a Jocasta that's going to blow up. So, and then the randomness of Iron Patriot, because you just don't know what the other player is going to get from that. And you're almost always going to be able to win that, because you're going to have like a lizard. You're going to have even if you play Iron Patriot on turn 2, you can play a lizard out there. You can play a zero combination with Starbrand. So most of the time you're going to be able to win it, on that next turn. So, and then of course you got Enchantress in here, which is going to help you if you get going against an ongoing list, or something along those lines. Supergiant helps against Destroy as well, which Destroy is very prevalent right now. It helps against discard, because they're missing just that one crucial turn, and that's tough, because they're not getting that destroy option off, which might be blowing up their Moira, getting more cards. They're not doing that. That's one less turn that they got to do that. Discard is the same thing. One less turn they've got to do that. That's always usually their MODOK turn. So now they can't do that. So this Supergiant is really great right now into this meta. And I'm telling you, this deck I lost very few games. In fact, to get to Infinite, I beat a negative player. And again, it was because of Supergiant, because they couldn't do what they wanted to do. I knew what they were setting up, because I knew they didn't get the Jane. So when they don't get the Jane, then what they do to stay in the game is they'll end up setting up the Gore move at the end. So I knew what they were trying to do, and all I did was I plugged up I put Negasonic on the one lane. They got their Gore, boom, the Negasonic blew it up. They had nothing to copy. So this deck is just very, very, very good. I would tell you to give it a try. If you're having trouble with last turn decks and losing to a lot of that, this deck was really good on my way up the ladder. So again, it's Electra, Sauron, Zero, Hydra Bob, Iron Patriot, Lizard, Gladiator, Starbrand, Negasonic, Supergiant, Enchantress, and Red Skull. And I hit this with 25 minutes to spare, which is insane to me. Because I have tried this a few times before and never had success doing it. So I was able to get a card border for the first time since January of this year. In fact, it was the Marvel Rivals season. That was the last time. That might have even been before that. I don't really even remember when Rivals was. It could have been last year. But that was the last Infinite border that I was able to get. And finally was able to do that. So it was pretty cool. A lot of people out on, I know Twitter gets a bad rap, and I can understand why, because there is a lot of nonsense and negativity out there on Twitter. But I still got a lot of, good job, congrats, all that kind of stuff. So thank you for that. It keeps my faith restored in the social medias, where many times, it's just kind of a rat hole for the most part. But I got Maria congratulated me, Jerron congratulated me, so it was pretty cool. It's always cool when you get that. And of course, the only drawback to that is, in 20 minutes from there, it started all over again, and I was back in the 70s. So higher up than I usually was, because you start at 75. Which is kind of nice, instead of having to make your way through the 60s. So as of right now, I'm close to 80. I think I'm at 78. So I didn't get that much of a chance to play yesterday, and I was kind of just trying to find my way as to what I wanted to play this month anyway. So there was that. It was very, very surprising. And, I had some people who were saying, let me see if I can pull up the comments. Most of the comments I got were on that so close yet so far away post. Ryu Apprentice said, I managed to hit Infinite a few days ago. First time, don't worry, you'll get there. Just take your mind off it. That's actually good advice, because a lot of times you get so caught up in making it, and you get so frustrated. Like just the night before, right? Just the night before, I had a massive losing streak. And that's the last 2 times I played. But I will say this. I think there's something to the time of day that you play. Now, I think Nina, when she was on my show, talked to me about that and said, why do you play so late? It's so hard. But that, when I'm doing stuff at night, that's when I do it, is later at night. Because I'm a night owl. I stay up late. That's always when I played video games and stuff like that. So I kind of guess but I have noticed that during that time, it is seemingly a lot harder to win games. The last couple of times I've done that, I've gone on massive losing streaks, like down like 4 or 5 levels, where I could not win a match. And I know that was including the cheater bots, because they just pull it out of their butts at the end of the game and beat you with a card that you never think that they would have. And they just end up beating you with something stupid. So so maybe there is something to that. I don't know. I mean, you're probably also a little bit tired, a little bit exhausted, because, if it's like 2 a.m, even though I stay up late, you're still kind of just chilling. Most of the time, if I'm not doing anything like that, I'm watching mindless TV, or I'm watching, maybe watching a movie that I may have seen before, stuff that I really don't have to focus on. It's probably a little bit of that as well, but yeah, some cool, inspirational stuff. Then reviews from the tub said, went to lunch at 94 and hit 2 8-cubers in a row. Third game was 4 cubes. I had to try. I hit it at 20 after 2. So there you go. Got in there late as well. Stu said, I've been trying the same. Got to 99.4 and lost 8 cubes. Called it a day. Yeah, see, and that's, to try to do it on the last day is not easy. And when you get like that, when you're that close and then you lose an 8-cuber, it's like, screw it, I'm done. And that's, so I totally get that. Slow Hansen responded to my, the little lyric challenge there with a picture of Daryl Hall. Very good. And then Boston Kun was the one who said Hoobastank. So they might have done a similar song to that. It's not the same one, but they may have had something similar, 100%. Because I can remember hearing similar lyrics from a song that they did. Chris Hamsworth also got it too, because he said, "Is it so far away, so close, yet so far?" Good song. Gordon Bell says, I don't play ladder beyond 90. That's why I'd personally love to see a draft mode, or a mode where I can play with forgotten about cards against something other than the same 4 or 5 meta decks. Yeah, I totally get that. Lauren was mentioning how she liked the diner this past version of it, because it was almost like a different game mode, because there was no stakes at all. And there's no pressure at all. And she even had mentioned, maybe this is something they should look into as a permanent game mode, when people just want to chill. Like, that's the thing about Snap. And I think that's why I get frustrated about it a little bit too, Gordon, is that there is no chill mode. Like, even the modes that are supposed to be chill, like Conquest, still end up sweaty. Like, I'm still shocked that people play out the Proving Grounds. Like, that still shocks me. Like, why would you bother with that? And why are you playing sweaty decks in Proving Grounds? So I get that. I 100% get that. I think they do need something else. I would agree. The mini games are fine, but I think that they do need something else. I would agree. And then Jeremy said, same here, haha, got to 98, then went on an 8 cube with about an hour left. Lost. Said, oh, well, time for some Hearthstone. Finished at 96. Didn't actually. I would never tell anyone to feel bad. And listen, I've made it to the 90s the last couple months, and I don't feel bad about that. I remember I had a guest on the show. I'm trying to think who it was. Might have been Safety Blade that I had on that mentioned it. I can't remember. But whoever it was said that you've got to understand, it actually might have been Nerfer. I don't remember who it was, but you've got to realize that even if you could have been Gunny T, now that I'm thinking about, I had so many people on the show that I talked to, but they said to me, you've got to realize that, even getting to Infinite, you're in a select group, because there really isn't that many people, considering the amount of players that play this game, that actually get there. So getting into 90 is no small feat. So yeah, I mean, look, pat yourself on the back. It's a win, just to get into the 90s, and you should never feel bad about it, because it's an accomplishment. So, all right. So I incorporated a little bit of the responses into the. I incorporated the request line into the first part here a little bit. So kill two birds with one stone. All right. So the second thing, that's the infinite run. And the second thing I want to go into here is, and again, normally I don't spend a lot of time on variant things, because it's just, it is what it is, right? Like, I'll be honest, like, I'll pick out a favorite card, I'll throw that in there. But there is so few times I actually sit there and look at a card. And I don't know how it is with you guys, but there is so many times when, I'm just playing the game and I'm not even paying attention to the card. I'm not even looking at the card. So variants don't really mean a whole lot to me. Like, there's some cool ones I want. Like, I want that freaking Galactus. I have not seen that damn thing. It's in that I Am Ivan fan thing where you can get the Galactus if you get that. And I need that's the only Galactus I don't have. And you had to complete the album to get it. I need one card to do it. It's an Annihilus, and I have never seen it. Never seen it. So that really bugs me, because I have all the Galactus cards. Many of them all split, and I actually like that one too, and I really want it. And I have not seen. Have any of you ever run into that? Have you wanted this one variant that just never comes back around? That's another thing that they really need to do. That I think is things like this, like these little housekeeping type things, these little, things like that we're going to, Burb and I, whoops, there goes the music for the game. Yay. Burb and I are going to talk about this a little bit on my show. Just like little nuancy things that players would love to see, and we don't even think it would be that big of a deal. But it's like that, like the border itself of the game, the deck slots, little things like that. Burb and I are going to talk about that on Friday, so that'll be part of that discussion. But in any case, going back to the variants, I saw this new album get posted. And I was like, I'm looking at these variants and I'm like, what in the hell are these variants? And I get to the shop and I'm starting to look at them, and they're gone now. They're not in my shop anymore, but they were Marvel Legends variants. So they were variants of Marvel Legends action figures. And let me tell you something. The morph is creepy AF, dude. Like, creepy. You see his face and you get this big, huge grin on his face. I'm like, dude. So I saw these things and I'm like, are you really? Someone took a picture of their Marvel Legends collection and they used them as variants. I thought about it a little bit, and then I had to think about it a little bit more, because when I first thought about it, all I could think of was, wow, this is kind of lazy. Like, this is kind of lazy to me. Like, one of the things I enjoy about playing this game the most is the artwork, because I get to see artwork from all these different artists and things like that. And even the ones that I don't necessarily enjoy as much, like the chibi art and all that kind of stuff, that's not really my thing, but it's still art. And then I see a picture of an action figure collection and I'm like, what? That to me just kind of takes away from the thing. Now, again, I had to kind of get off my old man horse and think, all right, well, number one, when do you really look at the variants anyway? So who cares? I've since gotten a few of them, because a lot of them are 700 gold variants. And then, but they still look very weird. And the other thing I didn't like about them either is I don't like the variants that don't split. And these, even when you do get them to the point where they're split like that and they're animated and stuff, they don't look like they're animated. So, and that was kind of how Marvel Rivals was. And that's the reason why I bought none of those, because they look terrible. And so but again, you guys came back with some comments for the request line with this, which I'll read in a little bit. But a lot of people vehemently disagreed with my opinion on this, which is fine, but I think I think the reason may be is it might just be an age/generation gap, because I never collected these figures. I have one or two of them, and that's really about it. And I think I only ever bought I bought a Thanos. I have a Man-Thing one, and then I think I have a Spider-Man. But that's about it. That they were the only ones I ever bought. I always found them to be a bit too much money, and there were just too many of them for me to get. So I just kind of narrowed it down to just like my really, really favorite heroes. But I think it's because, again, I thought about it to myself afterwards, and I thought, I was a big Mego collector when I was younger, right? So when I was, when it was in the 70s and 80s, that's the figures I was getting. I was getting all the Mego action figures. So they're nostalgia for me. Marvel Legends, I'm sure, are nostalgia for a lot of you, which makes a lot of sense. Because again, I'm old. So nostalgia for me is going to be different, very different from nostalgia for other people. So a lot of people probably did, especially if you're a Marvel fans, collect a lot of these Marvel Legends figures. I remember going to the comic book store that I used to go to all the time, and I'd see he had a big wall of them there, and they were cool. A lot of them were very cool looking and done well, and they have a lot of cool, I remember seeing a Wolverine one that had a Sentinel head in the box, and then some of these would form like bigger figures. I know there was a Galactus one, because people are selling that. They got all the figures, took out the pieces from the boxes and put it together. And then they're selling this thing for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So, so it's, so I can understand that. I can understand nostalgia for them. And maybe I should have gone a little bit easier on the comments, but man, did they creep me out. When I saw it, I have the White Queen one, and it's just creepy looking at the card. I don't really know. You guys can probably educate me on it. Are these actual pictures from the card boxes or the figure boxes? Are they, are these from the actual boxes? So maybe they just end up taking them right off the figure box. Or were these put on a display that someone made or something like that? You guys can probably educate me better on that, because I'm just not sure. But in any case, let's go into so that's going to end the spin. But I'm kind of working both directions here with the spin and stuff like that. But let me go off here. So this is the post I have, and I put up pictures of the Wolverine and of that creepy ass morph. I mean, this morph is just creepy, dude. That one is just that is just a creepy, that look on his face is creepy. He looks like a serial killer. And Wolverine just there's an actual background which looks kind of like a Halloween, like a haunted kind of a background, and it's the Logan Wolverine, and he's in a pose with I don't know. They just look so weird to me, man. But anyway, I wrote pics of action figures on cards. Thoughts? First off, they look kind of creepy. Secondly, I'd rather art. And lastly, did someone have a Marvel Legends collections to take all these pics? So this got a lot of responses. And then I wrote, all this said, it could just be that I was never a collector of these figures now. And now if they were pics of the 70s Migos, I'd be all over it, which is true. Mr. Marvel responded, Jubilee, you're not so bad. But see, even when I'm looking at this Jubilee card, right, they have it pictured in such a way that it makes her head look massive. Her head looks way bigger than her body. And I know that these figures didn't look that way, but because it's so up close on the card, it makes her head look like it's just gigantic. So even on this one, it's just weird, dude. It's just weird. And then Muckfay, oh God, says L take. So he obviously didn't agree. And I wrote, I can see appeal to those who collect them. I suppose I never really did. And he says, he or she said, not really sure. I have thousands of action figures, literally thousands, and play with them daily. LOL. And then I wrote, that's cool. I used to collect a ton of them. Megos were my thing back in the 70s, and then Star Wars in the 80s along with Transformers. Yeah, I've always collected action figures. I mean, that's nothing new for me. I had and then obviously that addiction went to Funko Pops. And I still have a big, humongous shelf of Funko Pops that are out of the box that I have on display. So my collection of action figures is, I've definitely collected them over the years. But Marvel Legends just wasn't one that I ever got into. And I think, like I said, I think it was the price. Because a lot of times when you saw them in the comic stores, they were $25, $35. And I'm like, yeah, they're cool, but man, I just can't see spending that kind of money. TBSLY says that this art kind of sucks, LMO. And I wrote, that's the thing. It's not art. It's actual pictures of action figures, whether it's someone's collection or even pics from their original boxes. I personally think it's lazy. The Clipman says, I get it if it's some cross-promotional thing that generates the company money and exposure, but with such a wide range of artists and potential variants, for me, it's a hard pass. They also look ridiculous. Yeah, see, I agree with that. If they didn't take them and make them so close to the card, like the Jubilee one, and you just see her big face there, they do look kind of silly. So, I agree with that take. And then I wrote, I agree, much rather art than picture of someone's action figure collection. Perry Sean, Fish Victim Francis, says, I think they're fun. Not anything I deliberately pick up, but I'll take these over avatars I'll never use. As long as they're not AI and someone's taking the time to make them cool looking and photograph them, well, whatevs. They should credit the the photographer, in my opinion, though. Yeah, that I would be curious about. I'm hoping it's not AI. It could be. I didn't really stop to think of that, but that's a good point. And yeah, at least credit the person who took the pictures. Or if it is one of the devs' collection, they probably have a massive collection of them. So let us know that too. Like credit the devs with the and say, hey, this is so and so's collection. He's got hundreds and hundreds of these, and photograph them. I used to know people that would do. They would take action figures, they put them in outside like settings and stuff like that, take pictures of them and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great take. Neil Found Glory says, I didn't like them at all until the penny dropped and I realized they were action figures. Now I kind of like the quirkiness. Taka says, I used to collect Marvel Legends toys a few years ago. I don't mind it at all. Anything better than plagiarism, pixels, or awfully horrible chibis, I'm down. Yeah, I said, I'm not a fan of the chibis. Pixels, we haven't really gotten many pixels at all anymore. I think that they might be done with that. And yeah, plagiarism, of course. Camden Taylor says, not a fan. Garrett Bridges says, I really dislike these, like bordering on pixel cards dislike. Dexter Fret says, I'm okay with this because it is a variant and an alternate version of the character if you think about it. If they were to make a show using toys and stop motion, this would be them. Plus, I like that style of Logan. The other one looks like Jack from The Shining. Yeah, that's a good point. He does. Oilers Scoobs never spent less time looking at the shop. These make the dinosaur variants look like masterpieces. Oh, those are awful. The dinosaur ones were so bad. JHS Photo says, I needed one purchase to finish a 2K token and premium unlock, so just got the White Queen. I think these seriously suck. Worse than Pixels. I'm not alone. See? I'm not alone. Tomas Delmar says, each new variant, I value the background more and more. ZSS says, it's cool. Having this adds to the variety. Cristiano Gump says, they tried really hard to make the worst collection in the game. Really horrible. Riki Toso 1337 said, these are dope for me since I collect Marvel Legends. So see, that makes a lot of sense. If you're a collector of them, then that brings back nostalgia, and that makes 100% sense. Seth says, depends on the card. The Wolverine one looks uncanny. The Morph one is all right. Metallico Jesus. Yeah, at least it's better than the stupid signature ones. Kyle Parkhurst says, they're rares, which means I get them for free. Yeah, me too. I mean, I get all the 700 variants for free. I'm certainly not buying them. Namor says the cable variant kills me because he reminds me of Pink. Leo Vereen, comentarista profesional do X. Better than pixels, dinos, animals, and those robots. So there you go. I mean, again, thank you guys. That made the request line today. It just goes to show you, right? Like everybody's got different opinions. It's cool to have different opinions. And, but even I had to take a step back and realize that, yes, okay, there is a reason why people would like these if you are nostalgic for this. And then again, it teaches the old man here a lesson, and that, you got to understand. Not everyone that is listening, and probably most people that are listening to this show, are probably not as old as I am. So you're not going to think that, nostalgia for you is going to be very different than nostalgia for me. Because my era of nostalgia is probably the 70s, the 70s and 80s, where you guys are, much younger than me. If there's some people that are out there that are 20 years old and listening, your era of nostalgia is very different from mine. So lesson learned. And again, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you all, for giving me a few seconds of your time, whether it be on X, whether it be on Blue Sky, wherever it is. I really appreciate it. It helps add some flavor to the show when I get that participation and stuff like that. I super appreciate that. So thank you all. And that's all mostly coming from X, and those of you that see posts on there. So thank you all for doing that. I really appreciate it. And if you want to participate even more and you have a particular question you might want to ask of me, ask the DJ, for the request line, please shout it out and let me know, whether it's concerning Marvel Snap. I'm certainly no expert. I'm no KM Best. I'm no Safety Blade, but I do okay. And, I'll certainly answer any question you may have about that, whether it might be about, comic books, about Marvel films, about, really, anything out there, music and stuff like that. Please hit me up. I would love to hear from you. My DMs on X are always open. I don't ignore anyone or anything there. You can hit me up over on Blue Sky as well. I'm Snap Decisions there. You can hit me up on my Discord, which is very, very quiet, but hey, I have some people in there. But you can hit me up over there. It's Snap Decisions there. And I'm also on the Snap Judgments Discord as well. So I have my own little section in there. Also. And, so hit me up. I, would always love to hear from you. And you can also hit me up with comments and things too. If there's things that you feel that could improve about the show, or that maybe there's just things that you don't like or you do like, let me know that too, because that's really the only way, that things can ever get changed or improvements will happen and stuff like that. If I hear from you guys, maybe you don't like a particular segment, or maybe there's another segment you might have an idea for. I'd love to hear about it, and I'm always open to those suggestions. So there you go. We killed 2 parts off with one. We obviously did DJ Spin, and we did the request line. So thank you all for the responses for that. So coming up next, we're going to go and do some Snap talking. We're going to talk some Snap, and so let's get into that. All right, let's talk some Snap, and I've got the iPad open. Good Lord, keep your fingers crossed. And since it's after 3, which I don't get to do this very often as much anymore, but since it's after 3, we'll examine some things here. We'll open up some stuff. I'll collect my gold pass. Oh, how about that? Yeah, like a dope. I ended up spending $9.99 twice for the season pass, because I came in to the game itself. I did see the comment about getting it on the website because you get the Arnim Zola card. So I went and I checked the website, and there was nothing there. But then they ended up telling you how to open the game first before you go to the website. So then I opened the game, and I thought, screw it, I'm just going to get it on the game. So I got it on the game, and then the game was giving me error messages and telling me I didn't get it. So even though it looked like it went through Apple, I had to put my password in and all that kind of stuff like I normally do. But I got nothing. I had no Zombie Scarlet Witch. I opened the packs for the other cards, the Series 4 pack, the Series 5 packs, 2 of them. Oh my God, did I have to spend a bunch of tokens? Good Lord, it wiped out my tokens. Not wiped out, but I mean, it took them down pretty low. But I ended up getting it, and then it never went through again. So then I ended up thinking, well, maybe the purchase failed, because I've had that happen. Sometimes Apple purchases don't go through for whatever reason. So then I bought it again. Well, guess what? I got charged for it twice. So now they tell you specifically, don't buy it again. And like an idiot, I didn't read that until afterwards. And so now I'm probably out $10 because I highly doubt they're going to refund it. I mean, I could probably go through Apple and said I made the same purchase twice and try to dispute it, and I'll probably get it back at some point, but it takes a while. So, but anyway, yeah, dumb moment for me there. All right, so let's see what I got in the offers here. I've got a Cersei Spotlight variant. It's kind of cool, a Rick Barry variant. Do I have... See, what I try to do with these variant things, first of all, I don't ever buy the unlimited ones. Or the... I don't ever buy the ultimate versions. I don't ever buy those. To me, they're a waste of tokens. But what I try to do is I try to see, like, do I have variants of... Like, there are cards that I'm just starting to realize I still don't have variants for. I don't have a variant of Marvel Boy. I only have the base card. There are some others I don't have. No, Cersei, I do. I have one variant of Cersei, so I'm not going to bother getting that one with tokens then. All right, let's see what we got in offers here. Oh, man. One of these days, I might get that Annihilus in my shop. One of these days. I doubt it, but I don't know how they do the... All right, let's see. We've got a Jim Lee Domino, Art Germ Ghost Spider. We've got Victor Faro Shang-Chi. We've got the Rian Gonzalez Headpool variant. That's fun. Rian Gonzalez Zombie Scarlet Witch variant. So Rian Gonzalez stuff in here. Rian Gonzalez Giant Man and Rian Gonzalez Colonel America. So it looks like Rian is the focus. And we have an Andrew K. Curry variant of Dracula. I have a lot of Draculas. This one looks cool, but I have a ton of them. The Deadpool, these are all cute, but they're kind of, Rian's art is chibi style. So I know a lot of people don't, maybe not necessarily liking it, but they're kind of making a lot of cute variants lately. The Giant Man's fun. He's holding regular Scarlet Witch and Vision in his hands. Black Widow, Captain America, Thor, and are all down in the bottom of the card as well. And then the Zombie Scarlet Witch has a whole bunch of zombies by her. Zombie Thor, Zombie Spider-Man. So it's cool. Rian's art's cool. So that's what's in the shop today. There is a large bundle with Khonshu and Moon Knight. Night Forged in Fantasy variants, 8,000 gold, 8,000 credits for $100. There's a really cool Ghost Rider. Now this one, I don't know. I might have to get it. The value's there because it's $14, but it has 1,200 gold and 1,000 credits. So that's pretty good. Has a heavy metal border. But this card is sick, man. Andrew K. Curry, variant of Ghost Rider. Man, does this look amazing. It almost looks like one of the tarots, but this just looks sick, man. He's wearing he has like a chain crown, and stuff like that. I really like it. And I don't even really use Ghost Rider that much, but it's a sick variant. So I might have to pick that up. We have a Metal Mastery In-Hyuk Lee variant of Magneto in the white outfit, 3,000 gold. That's actually even a better deal, gold-wise, because gold is so hard to get. For an extra $10, $24.99 gets you 3,000 gold. So let's look at this. 3,000 gold. Yeah, that is a good deal, because you would pay $34.99 for 2,600 gold. So figure 35, 40, if you add in the 300, that would give you 2,900. So 100 less, and you'd be paying $40 for that. So that is a really good deal if you just want to pick up some gold. And the Magneto is kind of cool. Let's see what it looks like split. Plus, you get the cool avatar with it if you're a Magneto fan of the white look Magneto. But let me look like it looks cool split. The cape's like flowing and stuff like that, and all the metal around them. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I would if you have that kind of money laying around, then you're not adverse to spending money, which believe me, I completely understand if you were. But if you need gold, that's not a bad way to go. It's definitely a good value. And then I've got the exclusive offer for the Colonel America variant, which comes with a premium border and the avatar for $20. So that's what's in my shop. Let me go in here and we'll look at some variants that I have gotten over the week. A lot of chibis, lots and lots of chibis. I managed to get the whole album of the chibis that came out recently, and that album's called, let's see, because I completed it, so now it's going to be down in my complete albums. Let's see where this one is. Multiversal Minis. So I got this one complete because, again, a lot of these are 700 gold variants, and I'm able to get, I was able to get all of them because I would just pull them out of caches. So I have the entire set of those, and I got the Doctor Strange one because of when you complete it, you got the Doctor Strange. So I got the Kahori of that, and it's the What If variant of Kahori. That's the chibi. I got the Bruce Banner, the Rogden chibi variant of Bruce. I got the Jocasta, which is the Rogden Moon Colony variant of her. I got the Captain Carter, which is also the What If variant. I got the there it goes, bum bum bum. The iPad crash. Yay! The iPad crash has happened. It's happened. The world's not going to end, folks. The iPad crash has indeed happened. And so let's go to breaking news, shall we? Let's break in on it. What am I watching today? Well, last night on Tubi, I watched a movie called The Game with Michael Douglas. If you have never seen The Game, you need to watch it. It's a sick mind-bender film. And I like films like that every now and then, that really like make you think. And they've got a couple of good ones on Tubi right now. But The Game is a very, very good older film. I think it came out in the 90s. Michael Douglas was in like everything in the 80s and 90s. So, it's a great film. It's a mind-blowing film. Don't spoil it. If you've never watched it, go check it out. It's really, really fun watch. Let me know if you did, because I'd love to get opinions from you guys on it. I also watched another favorite film of mine with Leo DiCaprio, Shutter Island, which has one of the most mind-blowing endings to a movie that you'd ever see. The only thing is, it's not one that I can The Game I can rewatch because of the fact it's old and I may have missed some things in it from back in the day. Shutter Island I've seen so many times already now though, but once you see the ending of it, you can't really watch it again. It's kind of like Sixth Sense because it kind of blows the movie for you. Like when you know what's going to happen at the end already, you're like, it doesn't take you as it's not as shocking when you see the ending for it. So there, just a little movie stuff. And right now I have Dave Roberts from the Dodgers on my TV screen because I was watching the press conferences because my Dodgers are up 2-0 on the Phillies, which I never thought would happen. I've been a Dodger fan all my life, and I really would love to see them get back to the World Series again. I know that's selfish, but I would like to see it for Clayton Kershaw because I'm a huge Clayton Kershaw fan. He's my favorite baseball player for a long, long time now. And I know he got a bad rap because he lost a lot of games in the playoffs and stuff, but I'd love to see them get this second title in a row for him. Would be such an amazing thing to see him go out that way. Very seldom do athletes go out the way that Peyton Manning did when they win a Super Bowl. And I would love to see Clayton get that. I think he's a truly deserving guy for something like that. So, all right, it's back to the variants. I got a Redshift variant, which I did not have. So that's another card I got knocked down. The Pandart one, I just happened to open it up, which was cool. And then, of course, all the cards from yesterday. Colonel America, Zombie Giant Man, Zombie Power Man, Headpool, and Zombie Scarlet Witch. 5 cards. 5 cards. It's getting crazy. And here we go. The Marvel Legends series variant. I got the Sunspot. And it just says Hasbro underneath it. So obviously no art credits. It just says Hasbro. So maybe they just got permission from Hasbro. And like I said, let me know if this is like White Queen's picture has her like in what looks like a winter setting, trees behind her and stuff like that. She actually doesn't look bad. White Queen, then I'm not just saying that because of the way she dresses, because that would be, that would be weird. But yeah. So I would like to know, maybe these are maybe they're pictures from the boxes, and you guys can let me know that. I got the Red Wing Rogden Chibi as well. That completed that album. And then the Doctor Strange Rogden Chibi. The Strange Supreme Rogden Chibi, which kind of looks cool. So they were the variants that I picked up over the course of the week. So, a lot of them, again, because they're just 700 gold variants that I'm just able to get. Let's look at the Conquest shop, shall we? And let's see what we've got going on in this. You look at the shop, and there is a cool Bishop in here. It's the Don Aguillo variant of Bishop. So I know Bishop's not played a ton anymore, but very, very cool variant. I'll end up getting that. I already have 3 towards it, so I'm a third of the way there. I played a little bit of it yesterday just to get that. Week 2's rewards are a titles that says Brains. Then we got some Bishop boosters and a gold ticket. Week 3 is a premium mystery variant. Bishop and boosters and another title, Chomp, You're Infected. And then week 4, we've got a purple neon border, an infinity ticket, and the Bishop avatar. So that's what's in the Conquest shop this week, if you still do Conquest to get that free card. Alrighty, what else do we have? Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, God, the Raft is the hot location. Alrighty, well, Zoo players rejoice. You'll fill that up mighty quick. And get that 0 card. There's that Arnim Zola that you can get if you buy the season pass on the web shop. They really want to get attention to the web shop, I guess. And then the Super Premium Pass obviously gives you the Headpool variant, and then you'll also get the mystery border, or you'll get the borders, and you get the extra 10 levels on the season pass. So I am at rank 78, so I again, from 75, I didn't do much. I just played a little bit of regular ladder. And then let's look at some decks really quickly, shall we? We've got a Destroy list. Now, these came from Snap Judgments. So this came from Glazer. Glazer put out a lot of these decks today. Go check him out. Obviously, for all the stuff you ever need to see about decks and things, check out Snap Judgments. He does these daily videos, and he had 10 decks today. 10 decks. This is one of them. This is their Destroy list. Deadpool and Headpool. Moira X, Nico, X23, Carnage, Wolverine, Killmonger, Venom, Deathlock, Null, and Death. The standard run-of-the-mill Destroy list, except Moira X is included in this now, and Headpool probably fits right in very well. So there you go. There's that Destroy list. We've got a mill list for those of you that love to play this deck. Apparently, it's back a little bit. We got the Hood, Surge, Shadow King, Iron Patriot, Merlin, Killmonger. Killmonger is great for these the Horde decks, and for a lot of that stuff that's going on out there right now. Also for the end of turn stuff, Killmonger is a great solution for that. Baron Zemo, Gladiator, Shang-Chi, Misery, Lady Deathstrike, and Death. The Zombie Horde deck that I have, and I didn't try this one yet, but this came from Glazer's list as well. Kitty Pryde, Zabu, Angela, I think it did anyway. Might not be from Glazer, might be from a different source. But Kitty Pryde, Zabu, Angela, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, obviously Merlin, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Elsa Bloodstone, Hope Summers, Gwenpool, Juggernaut, Galacta, and Zombie Giant Man. So it's basically just Zombie Scarlet Witch and Zombie Giant Man. This is the comments that I had about... So they released these in an odd way. To me, if you wanted people to play with this zombie horde and start it right from the beginning, you probably should have released, rather than the discard guys, they should have put those out a little bit later. I think like Power Man and the other one that are the discard ones, Colonel America, I think probably should have waited until next week or the week after and have people play the hordes first. So put out Mr. Fantastic this week. Put out other ones. And I get it, but you're not going to really get like super into the horde unless they didn't want people to yet. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, it's just kind of weird how they released it. So there's a Wiccan deck. I always like the Wiccan decks. This is if you want to be a party pooper and you want to play anti-destroy and anti-zombie, this is a good one for you. This is Quicksilver Shadow King, Domino Speed, Mobius and Mobius, Copycat, Malekith, Wiccan, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Lady Deathstrike, Galactus First Steps, and Magneto. So some of the cards are the same, but you got a Shadow King in here for that zombie horde. You also have Malekith to make sure you get out that extra card. You have Cosmic Ghost Rider that really ruins their party. And you got Lady Deathstrike, which can wipe out an entire lane. So that's if you want to go against the grain. We got Safety. Now, this is Safety Blade Zombie Discard deck. So this is, I played a little bit of this yesterday, and I'm not a big discard player, but it worked really well. Scorn Blade Morbius, Colleen Wing Wolverine, Zombie Power Man, the Colonel America, Dracula, Proxima Midnight, MODOK, Khonshu, and Apocalypse. Many times I just won the game by discarding that Khonshu a lot, whether it's with Zombie Power Man or whether it's with MODOK or whether, whatever it is. But yeah, you don't have a ton of discarding actual cards with, you have Blade and Colleen and MODOK are your primary ones. But the Zombie Power Man, if you get him lined up right, he'll just keep getting rid of cards in your hand over and over and over again. So that's what you want to do. And then, of course, Colonel America is going to give you a bonus for that. So if you're into discard, good one to try. There's a Dark Hawk list. This is Dark Hawk Nova. And again, this came from Glazer's list, his Dex list. This is Korg, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Iron Patriot, Quake, Lizard, Cassandra Nova, Terrax, Negasonic, Supergiant, Darkhawk, and Goliath. This is just, again, one of those ones with Supergiant where you're trying to stop all the big last turn plays. You can hit the Goliath because you're going into it with priority, and then you're going to be able to Goliath them before they can get their cards up, and that could just pretty much wipe out those last turn decks. So that's probably the reason why this is kind of prominent. The Sauron Supergiant list that took me to Infinite, I read that off earlier. 30 card Monty, or 30 plus. Merlin, Valentina, Juggernaut, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Legion, Enchantress, Agamotto, Goliath, Mockingbird, Eson, Thanos, and RSM again came from Glazer Snap Judgments deck list. And then, of course, you got the end of turn. This is the one pretty much everyone is playing again. Sunspot, Spider-Ham, Hydra Bob, Black Cat, Thena, Bruce Banner, Havoc, Marvel Boy, Jocasta, Prodigy, Invisible Woman, Fantastic Car. If you get that going with the Jocasta, followed by the Prodigy and Invisible Woman, you are just going to have massive, massive amounts of power, along with the combining with the Bruce, the Thena, the Sunspot, the Havoc, and the Marvel Boy. You're just going to have massive lanes if you're able to get that off. So the deck's just good again, and I was looking to see if they were ever going to probably nerf this deck, but they chose not to. They made it even more powerful. So, all right, guys, that's going to take us to Comics Corner time. And we're going to go and we are going to look up the zombie Scarlet Witch and see what we find here. And like I said, I don't know if this is going to be... we could probably do it from here. So that's just regular Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling that kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the case. They don't really have bios of these because of the fact that they weren't really in comics all that much. Yeah, this is I mean, she's talked about obviously in the films and the video games and stuff like that, but yeah, I think this is going to be difficult, I think. Well, let's see. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I found something here. This is because she's called the Red Queen. Queen Wanda Maximoff Wanda Maximoff is a former member of the Avengers and a superhuman with powerful magical abilities, making her a Scarlet Witch. However, Maximoff was among Earth's inhabitants who were infected by the quantum virus and turned into flesh-eating zombies. Despite Vision's many attempts to cure her, Maximoff's powers resisted the treatment. The only course of action was for Vision to contain her and her hunger. However, she was let out and became the Red Queen. Later, she was summoned to another world by Strange Supreme to help confront Ultron. The AI destroyed the planet she was on, but Maximoff survived and was captured by Strange along with other heroes and villains in his attempt to sacrifice them to the Forge and restore his universe. The prisoners were freed by Captain Carter. Maximoff fought Carter and Kahori before being transported back to her home universe. So, obviously, it's Wanda Maximoff. Her aliases are Scarlet Witch, Red Queen. Her nicknames is the Universe Killer. Zombified human, Sokovian. Female, of course, Queen of the Dead. She is zombified. And the TV series, of course, she was in is What If, 3 episodes, and Marvel Zombies, 4 episodes. And in games, What If, an immersive story. What is that from? Animated mixed reality video game. Collaboration with Apple. I never knew that. Okay, well, I learned something. Voiced by Elizabeth Olsen. She became a member of the Avengers, helping them on many occasions during her time at the team. Wanda met and entered a relationship with Vision. Prisoner at Camp Lehigh. That, of course, was when she was imprisoned by Baron Strucker. Wanda Maximoff became infected, transformed into a zombie. Vision tried to cure her and, opposed to killing her, decided to keep her contained in a holding cell in Camp Lehigh, New Jersey. Oh, okay. So that was from this. He then led survivors to there so she could be fed. Group of survivors consisting of Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, Bucky Barnes, Okoye, and Kurt Gorster arrived at the camp after deducing a message hexacode. Barnes explored the base to find a transport and instead found a zombified Maximoff and a crippled T'Challa. Having been disturbed by the survivors' presence and hungry for food, Maximoff broke out of her cell and killed Gorster. Barnes, Parker, and Okoye fought against Maximoff as Banner persuaded Vision to let them go. Vision created an opening for them to escape. As they were escaping, Maximoff captured and infected Okoye. Vision then sunk the base, causing it to fall on Maximoff. When Maximoff erupted from the debris, she saw that Vision had become deactivated and kneeled by his corpse in distress. Upset by Vision, she ignored the fact that Parker, Scott Lang, and T'Challa were escaping in a quad jet and tossed Barnes aside after he confronted her. However, she did try to bite Banner, but he turned into Hulk in time and engaged her in a fight. Strange Supreme has a quote, "It's not them, it's what came with the zombies." Maximoff, along with several zombies, were transported via portal by Strange Supreme to distract Ultron in an uninhabited planet in another universe. She was able to withstand Ultron's destruction of the zombie horde and used her powers to fight him. However, he used the Infinity Stones to absorb her energy blast. Much to her surprise, Realizing too late that she'd be killed by being wearing her lover's face, Maximoff was unable to do anything but see how Ultron used the stone's power to obliterate the planet, although Maximoff survived. Kahori's quote is, "Oh no, not her." Maximoff was captured by Strange Supreme and imprisoned in the Sanctum Infinitum to be sacrificed into the Forge. When Captain Carter caused a riot to prevent his plans, Maximoff was freed. Maximoff encountered Carter and Kahori, and as Carter fought off a horde of zombies, Maximoff battled against Kahori, with both of them levitating in the air. Maximoff attempted to infect Kahori, but she was instead teleported away to her universe. After being sent back to her own universe by Kahori, she regained consciousness and began building a zombie army to seize the energy of the 6 Infinity Stones. After being turned into a zombie, Wanda initially acted animalistic and could be somewhat contained by receiving the human flesh she craves. But when she angered, she would become a reckless monster. Even as a zombie, she seemed to have a deep connection with Vision, going up to check on his corpse after he took the Mind Stone out of his forehead. Looking slightly affected by that, when pulled by Strange Supreme to face Infinity Ultron, Maximoff seemed to recognize him as her brother's killer. Given her murderous rage and lack of desire to bite him, she even had enough lucidity for a brief moment of surprise upon seeing her blast couldn't kill Ultron. 5 years after the start of the apocalypse, Maximoff managed to fully regain her consciousness and control over her reality-warping powers, and set herself with the goal to absorb the Infinity Power contained by Infinity Hulk and use it to reshape the reality to her image by enthralling almost every zombie in the planet to confront him and sway Ms. Marvel to her side in order to use her powers as another conduit, as she could not fully absorb the Infinity Power without assistance. She had no problem killing and infecting anyone in the pursuit of her goals, having zombified the Asgardians by disguising zombie flesh into food and progressively psychologically torturing Ms. Marvel through her dreams in order to convince her to join her. Powers and abilities. She has zombie physiology, was infected by an encephalopathic virus that overloaded her brain's limbic system, turning her into a zombie. Like any zombies, Maximoff is capable of spreading the encephalopathic virus to others by biting or scratching, which would turn them into zombies. She was born with latent magical abilities that were later unlocked and amplified through her exposure to the Mind Stone. Psionics. As a result of exposure to the cosmic energy from the scepter, which contained the Mind Stone, Maximoff unlocked an array of psionic powers related to her magic. These powers manifest as a luminescent vapor of mist of red hue emanating from her hands and body. Psychic energy manipulation. Can project energy blasts, streams, waves, and bolts of her own psionic and telekinetic energy, allowing her to hit, push, pull, or blow away her targets. Potentially exerting enough force to destroy them, she was able to send a wave to free herself from Spider-Man's webs and project powerful streams of psionic energy at Ultron, Captain Carter, and Kahori. She was also able to conjure 2 binding energy ropes around Kahori to restrain her. Maximoff has the ability to move under telekinesis, levitate, and otherwise manipulate objects using her psionic energy in a remote manner without the need for her energy to first be projected from her hands. Maximoff used this ability to break the glass that contained her, blast open metal doors, pick up a metal door to block gunfire from Bucky Barnes, then throw it at him, pick up Kurt Gorster and Okoye, then pull them to her, lift countless large rocks from a crater and cause them to explode, make rocks levitate around her, stop bullets Barnes fired at her and send them back, pick up Bucky and send him flying, and move aside 2 zombies in her way. During her fight with Kahori and Carter, Maximoff used her telekinesis to stop several debris thrown at her by Kahori. Force field generations available to create highly durable barriers of red energy that she can shape and manipulate as needed. Maximoff used force fields to block blows from Hulk during their fight. And levitation, able to effortlessly levitate herself through the air. Was able to fly into the room to engage in a fight with the last survivors. She was able to fly out of the crater Vision made, fly toward Bruce in an attempt to infect him, and when she flew toward the Hulk in their fight, she was able to fly around while fighting Kahori. Mental manipulation. While in Sanctum Infinitum, Maximoff was able to use her mental manipulation abilities to create a whole army of zombified humans and then make them attack Captain Carter and Kahori. After fully regaining her mental faculties, Wanda used her mental manipulation to assemble an army composed of virtually every zombie on the planet to confront Infinity Hulk. Telepathy. Possesses telepathy, having used this power on Ms. Marvel by showing her a version of Infinity Hulk. Psionic self-regulation. While infected with the virus, Maximoff demonstrated a unique ability to consciously suppress the virus's effects on her mind by using her psionic discipline and magical connection to the Mind Stone. Originally, she retained most cognition and a slight control of her powers, unlike most zombies who immediately lost all rational thought after infection. But through training, she managed to fully regain her consciousness and control of her powers 5 years after her initial infection. Illusion manipulation. Can consciously alter her appearance, perception of reality, enabling her to disguise herself or objects. This includes changing her zombie form to a normal appearance. You saw that in the newest What If. And making ordinary objects appear as something else, as seen when she disguised zombie body parts as a normal food to infect Asgardians. Energy absorption. She can absorb and withstand energy blasts, as seen during her fight with Thor. Shapeshifting can use her illusion powers to shift her appearance back to her previous human self, which she used to deceive the Asgardians into believing she was still human in order to infect them and manipulate Kamala Khan into helping her reshape reality. Physical augmentation can use her magic to enhance her physical abilities to superhuman levels, allowing her to withstand falls from great heights and physical and energy attacks from superhuman opponents. Thor's lightning bolts were only able to hold her back momentarily, and Kamala's hard light constructs were ineffective against her. Wanda can reshape and reconstruct physical objects using her psionic and magical energy, as seen when she reforged Stormbreaker for the zombified Thor to wield against Infinity Hulk. Omnipotence. After absorbing the energy from all 6 stones alongside Kamala Khan, Maximoff gained near and unfathomable and omnipotent levels of powers. And then reality warping with the powers of the stones, she was able to remake the universe to her own image and will. Also an expert combatant. Was originally a poor fighter, having no combat skills or formal training. However, with years of experience, she developed a fighting style in which she would infuse her psionic energy into her hands to greatly enhance her hand-to-hand combat skills and allow her to parry attacks from attacks or bladed weapons without suffering any harm due to her psionic energy, protecting her hands from getting damage. Her equipment is her Avengers uniform. Not long after joining the Avengers, Maximoff would receive her own uniform. The suit contained a black leather suit with a red corset and an open red leather coat over it instead. The uniform also included red leather fingerless gloves and flare-heeled boots. Facilities, of course, she was kept in Camp Lehigh, prisons, the Sanctum Infinitum. So there you go. She's been in What If episode 1.05, What If Zombies. And then, of course, in all the episodes of What If, the Watcher broke his oath. She was also in Marvel Zombies episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and episode 4. And in What If episode 209, What If Strange Supreme intervened. So she was just in the MCU. So just in the animated stuff. She was not in comics. So we are not going to find her there in the Unlimited app. I don't believe. I will check just to be sure. But I don't believe we are going to find her in this. I'm going to type in Zombie Scarlet Witch, but I really don't think she's going to be here. This is going to be primarily another one, I think, where they're going to be all just stuff from the MCU. Yeah. Nothing there, but what I will look up is I will look up Marvel Zombies, and if you haven't read the books, I'm sure you can find them in here. Yep. Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay 2024 to present. Marvel Zombies 2005-2006 with the Spider-Man tribute cover. Marvel Zombies from 2015, 2018. Marvel Zombies Black, White, and Blood. Those are cool comics, actually. Marvel Zombies 2, Marvel Zombies 5, Marvel Zombies Halloween, Marvel Zombies Supreme, Marvel Zombies Destroy, Marvel Zombies 4, 3, Marvel Zombies Return, Marvel Zombies Resurrection, Marvel Zombies Evil Evolution, Dead Days 1. But yeah, there are a ton of Marvel Zombies comics. So if you're into them, this would be the place to get them from the Marvel Zombies app. Or the Marvel Unlimited app. Not the Zombies app. I'm getting carried away. With zombies. And if you do want to read them, it's Halloween month. It is scary month. So if you do want to read them, you can check them out in Marvel Unlimited in the app. So I'm sure you can also find them in graphic novel form wherever you can get comics from, whether it be a comic store near you, which I always tell you to support, or whether you want to get them from a Barnes & Noble or something along those lines. I'm sure you could find them there as well. Alrighty, so let's go into the comics that are new this week. And I will tell you what I've read and what's out in the app. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, issue number 4. X-Men 2024 is up to issue 19. Ultimate Wolverine is up to issue number 7. We've got X-Men Hellfire Vigil, issue number 1. We got Immortal Thor is up to issue number 25. Star Wars Jedi Knights, which I've read, and that's up to issue number 5. That is about Dooku, Obi-Wan, Yaddle was in this one, so just a lot of the Jedi Knights kind of getting in that book. Astonishing X-Men Infinity comic that is exclusive to the app is up to issue number 39. Uncanny X-Men number 1 by Chris Claremont. And this is Prelude to a Future Past, and that's issue number 1. So it could start right off with that one. Bring on the Bad Guys. I like these. They're going through all of the bad guys, and this one was in particular about Green Goblin. Amazing Spider-Man is up to number 7. He's got a new baddie that he's facing in this. So a brand new villain in this series. He's also kind of hanging with Black Cat. Getting a little risque. He's not really seeing anyone. He has a girlfriend in the story, but him and her are kind of a couple, but kind of not. So Black Cat comes back, and they re-spark the fire there a little bit. We got Wolverines and Deadpool's issue number 1, Marvel Zero issue number 1, Daredevil, which I've been reading right along, is up to issue 23, and I've read that already. Spider-Gwen the Ghost Spider is up to issue number 15. Avengers 2023 is issue number 28. Godzilla vs. Thor issue number 1. So we're continuing the Godzilla and the Predator stuff. Hellverine is up to issue number 8. For the kids, Spidey and His Amazing Friends is issue number 3. This is that new Captain America book I was talking to you guys about. Captain America 2025 issue number 1. Very, very good. I love it so far. All New Venom 2024 is up to issue number 8. And then the rest of them are all Ghost Rider and Captain America Fear. That's cool for Halloween. But these are all reprints. And they do reprints like, they have a lot of Ghost Rider stuff, Spirit of Vengeance stuff, Morbius stuff. So they're doing like the spooky stuff as the reissue reprints. So that's kind of cool. And then we have Marvel Rivals Infinity Comic, which is up to issue number 22. So there you go. That is what is in the shop this week. And like I said, best $9.99 you can spend on reading all of these comics. So go and check it out. All right. We are going to go into the MCU Minute here. In an effort to keep this around the time that I like to keep it around. And we'll talk about some MCU news, then we'll get to the Lyric Challenge, and we'll finish up for the week. This is from AOL.com. These Marvel characters are about to vanish from the MCU. We keep hearing rumors about how Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to spark a kind of soft reboot. Could mean the actors playing the franchise older characters. That could mean resurrecting characters like Captain America or Iron Man that were killed off but could make a lot of money for Marvel and Disney if they were alive again. Could it mean erasing some characters from the MCU completely, especially ones teased in post-credit scenes that never paid off or appeared in Disney Plus shows that proved to be extremely unpopular? So which MCU characters are getting the axe? In our latest MCU video, we discuss the Ultimate Deletion. Oh, it's a video. Well, that's not good. Well, go watch the video. They didn't go into that. That was a video. So Kevin Feige, this is from Fandom Wire, plans for the MCU revealed. Marvel is doomed. Kevin Feige's plans for the future of the MCU might put the company in trouble because Feige may be accidentally repeating his worst mistake. Plans for the MCU might be undoing years of trust, hype, and epic stories about that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is known for. Although there are several movies lined up at the moment, it seems that Feige is thinking beyond that too. During his talks with Variety, the president of Marvel Studios revealed that although it is a 5-year plan, they've already thought of the projects until 2032. Holy crap. It's traditionally a 5-year plan. I think it goes to 2032 right now. We produced 50 hours of stories between 2007 and 2019. We've had well over 100 hours of stories in half the time. That's too much. Although Feige admits that it was an honest mistake that they decided to choose quantity over quality for a while, it seems that Feige might be accidentally doing the same thing by thinking of a future that isn't even close yet. Kevin Feige has already planned post-MCU reset with Avengers Secret Wars. It's been famously stated multiple times that the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be undergoing a soft reboot following the events of Secret Wars. Rumors and speculations on the internet state that the X-Men will be joining the array of superheroes during the events of the 2027 film. Other reports also confirmed that the X-Men will be passing on the baton to younger characters after joining Kevin Feige's MCU, so in all means, it has been heavily alleged that the MCU will be undergoing a soft reboot. According to Kevin Feige's statements, the traditional 5-year plan has already been developed. Although we are in 2025 right now, he's thought about the projects till 2032. And this article is stating that they need to take a break. So I don't see that happening. They're gonna continue to do Marvel movies, and there are going to be some people that think that it needs to stop and they're doing too many and things like that. But I'm not one of those guys. Look, I'm getting older, and I'm sure I'm only going to be seeing some of these movies for a little bit yet. I want to enjoy as many as I can. So we'll see how that goes. Jonathan Majors reveals his plan to return as Kang in the MCU, gets honest about his potential return. Just revealed his plan to return as Kang the Conqueror following his controversial exit. Majors was found guilty of assault after a 2-week-long criminal trial. The verdict came after a report from November 2023 that claims Marvel is reportedly moving away from the Kang storyline. True enough, Marvel Studios panel at Comic-Con confirmed that they were indeed doing that with the Doomsday. Speaking in an interview with The Sun in September 2025, Majors played coy about a possible return to MCU as Kang, but he did reveal his potential plan for a comeback, citing there's always the multiverse to consider. Cannot say anything about that. Well, it's a multiverse, so there's always that. Always a lot of opportunity for that. Said he was very glad that some fans want him back. He said, yeah, of course I say yes. Disney, Marvel Studios, I love them. Tom Hiddleston, loved working with that guy. Loved working with Paul Rudd. Loved working with Gugu Mbatha-Raw. While not all stars have opened up about Majors firing, his Creed 3 co-star Michael B. Jordan, who played Killmonger in the Black Panther movies, was vocal about his support, saying he's doing great, just got engaged. I'm proud of his resilience and his strength through it all and his handling of it. I'm glad he's good. That's my boy. Yeah, well, who knows? I obviously, I don't know what the verdict was in that trial. I didn't follow it or anything like that, but, I wouldn't want, if all that was true and what happened is accurate, depending on what they found in the trial, then I'm kind of glad he's gone. But if it wasn't and stuff like that, then, I guess I could be glad that he gets another opportunity. David Dastmalchian reveals one character he wants to play in the MCU. He's played multiple roles in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after portraying the role of Kurt in the first 2 Ant-Man movies. The actor went on to lend his voice to the character of Veb, a slimy freedom fighter who's part of the quantum realm. However, it seems the Suicide Squad star is not done with the MCU and would like to take on a darker role. Although he'd be fantastic in any given role, he believes he would be perfect fit for playing Morbius, the vampire in the beloved franchise. He said, I've always wanted to take a crack at Morbius. I would love the opportunity to play Dr. Michael Morbius. Oh my God, there's so many great characters in the MCU, and I've always been a fan of horror and the weirder characters. That would be cool. I could see that. Especially, I'm sure some people want to forget the other version of it, and that Sony did. So, and then this one's from Bam Smack Pow. Marvel originally planned to kill off this major MCU character. They have a reputation for surprising fans. From Tony Stark's emotional death, an Endgame to Maria Hill's critically reviled death in Secret Invasion, known for pulling off some shockers. Captain America Brave New World would have originally killed off the leader. Samuel Stearns, the leader, was originally supposed to die in Captain America Brave New World. The outlet reveals that colorist Sam Mishlap shared a look at the film's original color script on LinkedIn, which features multiple cutscenes. One of those is labeled Stearns Dies, and it seemingly takes place on the lawn of the White House shortly after the villain engineered President Thaddeus Ross' transformation into Red Hulk. Stearns turned out to be the real villain of the movie. Spoiler. So maybe maybe the Hulk was going to kill him. As for why it was changed, it's quite possible it had something to do with the post-credit scene. One of the multiple criticisms has been their lack of interconnectedness. The post-credit scene for Brave New World, which involved the leader predicting the collision of universes, was seen by many as a last-minute attempt for Marvel to reconnect Brave New World to the rest of the saga. So there you go. So originally they had planned to kill Samuel Stearns. You know what's weird too is we have not seen anything about this Wonder Man stuff. Nothing. And Marvel is not going to really have much of a presence at Comic-Con. They're going to do, the MCU isn't. They're doing, obviously, Marvel panels at Comic-Con, which is right around the corner. That's this coming weekend, guys. If you're going to New York Comic-Con, it's this coming weekend. And I know an artist who had drawn something for me who's headed there. He's going to be he's going to be sitting right next to Todd McFarlane and Todd's panel that he's going to be doing at Comic-Con. So a lot of interesting stuff that Marvel will be having at the show, but nothing for the MCU. So they're saying that we should be getting a Doomsday teaser trailer before the end of this year. So I would guess it might be going with some bigger films. That might be attached to some bigger films at the end of the year. Could be attached to the Avatar movie, because that's Disney's next big thing. So it might be attached to that. But they said we could get a teaser trailer for that before the end of the year. But so far, and Wonder Man's supposed to be in December, which is going to be their next thing now. Because really we don't have anything else. The zombie series is over. So, but we have seen nothing from that. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on with it, but we have seen nothing at all from that series so far. So got to be a little skeptical of that. He's not a huge character, and if they're not even showing anything from it yet, no trailer, no nothing, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with that. So, but yeah, other than that, it's just a lot of rumors and speculation to this point. They are done filming Doomsday. And just a lot of rumors and stuff like that. Like I said, I know there was a meeting with Tom Holland and Robert Downey recently, but really not much came of that. It was just a photo shoot they had together, a thing they did together and stuff. So they got together just to do something, but nothing other than that came out. So that's about it for the MCU Minute and the news. And we are now going to get to the Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for this week. We're going to get to that. And, we're going to look at the Lyric Challenge, see how fast you guys can get it. You guys have been killing this. Like I said, I really was surprised at the last one that you got. So I'm going to have to get some harder stuff. So here we go. This one is by one of my favorite. I've seen this band, I think, 3 times in concert. Loved the vocalist, and they've got a ton of hits. This one in particular is not one of them, so this is going to be a little obscure. Which I hope can throw some people off the track here. Again, it's the song. I don't even know if this song made the charts, being honest with you. And they've had a lot of chart topping hits over their career. So I'm not going to really give you too much more because I think the hints might give it away. But all right, here you go. So this is this week's Dazzlers Lyric Challenge for a no prize. Let me get to the verse I want to do here. Okay. I wonder if you're really happy. And if you saw me, would you know my name? I'm the one you used to hold on to. You're the one who used to wear my ring. Remember our last September. There you go. That is the lyric challenge for the week. If you get it, man, I'm going to be impressed. Because, again, very popular band. But the song, unless you know the album well, and it is honestly, it's not their most popular album by any means, but it is my favorite album by the band. And it's just because it has a lot of personal memories for me that it holds. One is a very sad memory of mine about my prom story, which I'll maybe share with you guys someday. But it was a very, very sad time in my young life. But yeah, so there you go. Dazzler's Lyric Challenge for the No Prize is there and ready to go. All right, guys, so that's going to do it. Before I head out, I am a proud member of the Snap Judgments League of Podcasts, which obviously includes Snap Judgments, Glazer, the hardest working man in Marvel Snap, doing those videos for you guys with all those decks every single day. Check him out. He does a podcast with Roy every single week where they have guests on. I've been on there a bunch of times. I hope to be on again sometime. But he's got a lot of great creators on there, people that are doing content, a lot of people who are just making some awesome decks that are on his show. So make sure you check out his pod and, of course, his videos on a daily basis. You will get some very good deck ideas from them. And then, of course, Snap on This, and that is with my upcoming guest. Lauren Whatevs is the host, along with It's Just Ree and Benjamin Roller. Always a great time listening to that pod every single Friday that comes out. And they just did their card review for the new zombies and stuff on this past episode. So again, another great podcast. Check those guys out. And obviously, Kier Nimbus is still part of our group. Kier's just taking a little break from the game. A lot of personal stuff going on with him and things like that. So hopefully he'll be back at some point soon with his Infinite podcast, which I always enjoyed as well. So, and that said, please head over to my YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I have 2 upcoming guests. I have Burb joining me on Friday night, which will be out later Friday night. So make sure you check that out with the conversation with him and I. It should be a fun one. Like I said, I'm going to incorporate some Snap, but of course a lot of just pop culture things we both enjoy talking about and things like that. And then Lauren Whatevs will join me next Tuesday. That one will be out again, probably like on YouTube, probably on my YouTube page around like 9 o'clock or so, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Burb will be on my around the same time on Friday. So check both of those videos out if you like to see our pretty faces on the videos. Not mine, of course, the others. My guests are much prettier. But yeah, you never know what might pop up. I mean, my Galactus popcorn bucket made an appearance, so you never know what might pop up on the YouTube channel. Give the channel some love, like and subscribe. Make sure you comment on the videos if you check them out. I'd really appreciate that. They will also be available on audio as well, but I'm going to wait a few days to make them available on the audio format to give you a chance to head over to the YouTube page, obviously, in a marketing ploy. And yeah, I will be doing some giveaways once I figure out how to do that, so stay tuned. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me for this episode of Snap Decisions. Thank you so much for listening to the pod wherever you may do so, whether it's on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or whatever place that you choose. I appreciate all of you for doing so and spending this hour and a half to 2 hours with me. I really, really appreciate all of you. Have a great opening week in Snap. Enjoy the zombie invasion. And however you choose to play, I hope you have a great time doing so. Please stay safe, be kind to one another always, and hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.